I'm going to start with you, Beth, and talk about being on a tear. It doesn't go unnoticed that every single agency you go in there and you clobber data center optimization and move everything to the cloud. So give us a state of where you're at there with the data center initiative and the cloud optimization at Department of Homeland Security.
Wow, thanks for that introduction, Luke. It's interesting. When I was getting prepared for this, I was reflecting on the work that we did at Immigration and Customs Enforcement 3 or 4 years ago, prior to my coming up to the department, which really was a great training ground, if you will, for this most recent effort that we've completed, which is closing out Data Center 2. And I think for anybody who's closed a data center, particularly in the federal government, it's not a trivial task. And I'm pretty proud of the team, because if you consider that they completed this effort, I put a line in the sand 2 years ago. And I said, 2.5 years ago, I said to the components when I first got up to the department that we were going to complete this effort, that we were not going to extend the contract, we were going to get it done. Of course, I didn't have a crystal ball. I didn't know we were about to run headlong into a couple of very serious events: COVID, solar winds, a couple of natural disasters, and some world events along the way. So to say that I'm proud of this team for being able to complete the transition is an absolute understatement. But to just sort of sum up, we closed out a data center, and I can get into the details of what that looks like when we talk about, best practices. Some of the work, though, and the preparation for that started probably 5 years ago, 12 years ago, really, if we talk about the VEX memo, which is frightening to think that it was 12 years ago. But some of the work initially started with optimizing our Data Center 1, and then quickly transitioned for me into closing out Data Center 2. But again, pretty proud of the team. They did it through an administration change, a couple of CIO changes, some big major world events, COVID. I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could throw anything at this team and we'd be successful.
Absolutely. Data Center 1, 2, just so the listening audience understand what that means and what that is.
Sorry, I should have set some context. I just assume everybody knows DHS, knows what our big data centers are. Hey, we're DHS. We narrowed it down after DHS was created. There's more than Data Center 1 and Data Center 2, but those were our two primary on-premise data centers. And Data Center 1 down in Stennis, Mississippi, been operating down there for 17, 18 years now, and likely will remain in that on-premise data center for the foreseeable future. Although we have optimized, we've closed some of the zones in that data center and moved workloads to the cloud. Much of that work was work that I did while I was at Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and we'll continue that effort. I mean, we'll continue to optimize Data Center 1. Data Center 2 was a second data center here on the East Coast, and that had been operating for less time than Data Center 1. But again, there was an imperative from a lot of perspectives: cost, efficiency, effectiveness, capacity, performance. I mean, we could get down the litany of reasons why you go to the cloud. But particularly Data Center 2, it just made sense for us to try to winnow it down in DHS to the least number of brick and mortar data centers. We get scored on that. So it was kind of important from a scoring mechanism, but again, most importantly, from an efficiency, effectiveness, and resilience for our enterprise environment.